You won't need them, Ren smiled. I promise. With the 100 crystals you have, it will be more than enough if we overcharge them. The error in the extra 50 days is in the reduced amount of mana in the night crystal. The beetle adapts to the error late, 50 days late. Though I understand why they don't use larger crystals, mana poisoning is scary, but I hope you'll let me slightly increase the amount. Ren smiled. We just need to wait for a specific night that's coming in a few days so they don't absorb the wrong moon's light and the evolution doesn't stray from the correct path. Taro looked at Ren for a long moment. The mushrooms in his hair glowed with a steady light, as if reflecting the certainty in his words. Could he believe this child with such terrible luck? Actually, his logic told him no. But subconsciously, Ren's overwhelming confidence gave him tiny hopes. You know what? Taro finally smiled. I hadn't started the mixture with the night essence anyway. I was waiting to have all the crystals to do it at once, so... He shrugged. I guess I lose nothing by doing it your way. 500 years of records won't change to give my beetle another option if the professor was so sure there wasn't. And if you're wrong about the amount when overcharging the crystal, the school will give me the potion for poisoning once. At least that support is universal. I'm telling you, you won't need any of that, Ren repeated, and laughed at Taro's worried monologue. Yes, but if you're wrong, nothing will happen to me anyway. That's why I'm calm, and I'd still have time to collect the other 50 crystals to finish the common method, though we'll have to dig. They'll only give us 1 iron rank crystal daily, and it's not an earth attribute, though after using 100 for 100 days, I'm sure I'll already have another 50 just in case. Ren laughed. You talk and worry too much. As they walked to their next class, Ren noticed something. By the way, why didn't you collect rain crystals? They're cheaper, but you could have exchanged them. I had 500 before coming. I even got 15 in the last few weeks thanks to the rains. In the city? Taro laughed without humor. It's almost impossible to find them here. Besides, my beetle needs earth crystals, which are much more expensive. Plant users are lucky. They can use that basic and super cheap crystal in their first rank. Ren nodded, thoughtful. He would also need earth crystals for his evolution, though of a higher rank than Taro's. As they walked toward combat class, Ren and Taro met Min in the hallway. Did you hear? Min smiled, his water snake undulating around his neck. Professor Yang has a stone behemoth. A behemoth. There are only 3 in the whole city. Ren, Min, and Taro had reached the end of the hallway, to the next class. The combat classroom was different from the others. A circular amphitheater with an arena in the center, surrounded by ascending stands. The walls were marked with scars from past battles. Silence! Professor Yang's voice thundered in the amphitheater. He was a tall, muscular man, with scars that spoke of years of real experience. The stone behemoth in Professor Yang's skin gleamed under the amphitheater lights. The rocky lines covering his muscles made him look carved from living granite, a perfect manifestation for a combat instructor. Welcome to the real reason the government has you in school. Professor Yang smiled. Though before we begin with the important stuff, Yang approached the board. I see in your faces that no one has explained how this school really works. Typical of Old Way. Since my colleague was probably too busy with theories to explain the basics to you, let me simplify your 5 teaching units. He drew 5 circles on the board. The academy divides its teaching into 5 units. Each is worth 1 point, and you need at least 3 to maintain your support here. Losing 3 points, 3 times in a row, means you're a failure not worth cultivating. He pointed to the first circle. First, basic knowledge, history, economics, and life. 3 boring but necessary subjects. Without them, you wouldn't even know how to pay your taxes. Several students laughed. Passing all 3 counts as 1 unit. Several students were taking notes frantically. He pointed to the second section. Then there's Professor Wei's theoretical classes. Cultivation and crystal processing. Another unit. Yes, they're important. He rolled his eyes. But theory alone won't keep you alive. His tone suggested he considered this barely more useful than the basic classes. The third unit is exterior gathering, where you'll learn something useful. They'll teach you to survive while searching for cultivation materials. 2 weeks every 2 months, we'll go to designated zones. You'll learn to identify materials, detect monsters, and most importantly, when to fight and when to flee. The mushrooms in Ren's hair glowed with interest as Yang continued. 4th unit, practical crystals. Not endless theories, but real identification and gathering in the caves. Also a respectable unit. You'll learn to distinguish qualities, purity, and most importantly, not to poison yourselves too often by exposing yourself too much to concentrated mana. He straightened. And finally, combat. My specialty is battle against monsters. A young woman entered the classroom, her light step contrasting with Yang's imposing presence. My assistant, Professor Lin, is expert in combat against other tamers. His eyes swept the class. And do you know why this is the most important unit? Because no matter how much theory you memorize, how many crystals you identify, or how many materials you collect, if you can't defend yourself, all that knowledge will die with you. The rock in his skin crackled, as if emphasizing his words. Outside, monsters won't wait for you to process your crystals correctly, and in the rival city, some humans can be just as dangerous. Ren sank a bit in his seat. With only a 10% increase in strength, this unit would be a brutal unit. This class, his voice was rough as the stone covering him, will determine your baseline. He walked to the center of the arena. The final exam is simple. You'll have to eliminate a real monster. Not one of those weak ones that prowl near the city, but a genuine beast from the outer zones. Murmurs filled the amphitheater. That's why I need to know where you stand. Professor Lin and I will design a specific training program for each of you, based on your performance today. Professor Lin began unrolling a scroll. We'll pair you according to your beasts and attributes. The goal is to show your current capabilities. Yang nodded. Some of you have strength increases, others speed. Some have beasts with special abilities. But now, before cultivating them, is when your individualities as people can matter more than your beasts. We want to see how you use them, how you think in combat. Oh, and one more thing, Yang smiled. In my class, theory is learned through bruises. The mushrooms in Ren's hair pulsed nervously. His 10% increase in strength seemed insignificant compared to his classmates' beasts, even in the early stages. First pair, Lin read from the scroll. Jin and... The tiger boy straightened, his eyes fixed on Ren, waiting for his opportunity.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.